Call the meeting to order. I want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional unceded territory of the Upper Smokeman Indian Band. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Councillor McLean.
Second that, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Willis. Any additions? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Adoption of minutes from the August 17th, 2020 regular meeting of council. Can I get a motion?
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Gould, seconder. Councillor McLean. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Petitions and delegations, none. Unfinished business, none. Staff reports. Industrial Park Trees recommendation.
Mr. Mayor.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just excuse myself from this vote, please.
What if I have a question I have to ask?
Okay, we will continue. Recommendation, it is recommended that one, council approve the purchase of 8 to 10 foot blue spruce trees from the Stewart Brothers Nursery Limited at a total cost of $16,500 plus taxes for installation in the industrial park. 2, council approve the funding to come from the industrial park reserve. Councilor McLean, seconder.
Second that.
Councilor Willis, questions?
First of all, through to Carrie, this is simply a carrying out of requirements that we have for our industrial park.
Correct,
Why is Councillor Gould required to leave the meeting?
because she's the adjoining property to the industrial park.
Exactly. It wouldn't matter who it was. It's got to be done on the piece of property in order to buffer that area, right?
Correct.
So we have no option to be able to ask questions in terms of how this affects her or anything else.
That is correct, but this is a requirement of the town of Princeton to put these in place, and she is the person that's requesting them through the ALR to have them put in place as a buffer.
She's requesting or we are required?
This all started prior to her becoming a counselor, so.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is it's just our requirements from the,
Yes.
in order to fulfill this property and carry it out. The reason I'm kind of, what I'm getting at is that apparently we're going to put these trees in there, which I'm fine with. We're required to do it, and then they're on her property, so she's going to look after them.
Correct.
And what I was wondering about was why are we not putting a water line in there when we put the trees in, and all she has to do is turn the,
The water sprinkler system on?
yeah.
I don't know, when the trees were put back in there, and I'm gonna say it was back in 2008, 2009, there was a small section that was completed. We never did put irrigation in, and the property owners beside the industrial park have been looking after it. So when Jamie investigated getting these trees, we never looked at putting any irrigation along that property line at all.
Okay, I mean, all we're required to do is create a buffer.
Correct.
We're buying spruce trees to do that. It would, in my mind, it would almost seem to require that we look after setting it up so it's easy to be maintained, because the buffer is what we are responsible for.
But it is on her property, right?
It is on her property.
Absolutely.
I believe the fence
So
line
really-
is right on the property line, and the trees are on the inside of the fence line.
I agree with that, but in my mind, she's good enough to allow the buffer to go on her property.
Correct, yeah.
So, anyway, I just make that comment.
I think it was part of the referral system back in 2008, 2009, when the town of Princeton started the subdivision application. The ALR had to do referral to the property owners that were neighboring the property, and part of the request was to put a buffer in. So that's what we are doing. And again, following up with what CAO Thomas has said, Councillor Gould was not a councillor back then.
No,
This was something that just simply didn't get completed back in 2009, and we want to finish it off and
That's
have it
fine,
done.
and as far as I'm concerned, it's got nothing to do with Councillor Gould. It's simply the property that we're putting the trees on to fulfill our requirement to be able to, you know, carry on with this industrial park. Anyway, that's my comment.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Come on back.
Too bad.
Okay, 6.2, extension of temporary permit for BC Green. Recommendation that council approves the extension of a temporary permit for the period of an additional 2 years to BC Green to establish temporary accommodations at the industrial park to facilitate construction workers.
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Willis, seconder.
Councilor Willis.
Oh, what did I say? Oh, sorry, Councilor Willis. Sorry. I wrote Willis.
I guess I'll second.
Thanks, Councilor Gould. It's funny, I wrote one thing and said another. Any questions or comments? Councilor Gould?
If I could just ask, if we extend this, like, are they paying water and sewer up there right now?
Yes, they were billed in 2018.
Okay, so then they're paying for what services they're using up there. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 6.3, 2020 Princeton Municipal Tax Sale. Recommendation that council authorize CAO Lyle Thomas or his designate to bid for the town of Princeton at the 2020 tax sale in accordance with Section 648 of the Local Government Act, and that up to 50% of the current general municipal assessed value of each individual property may be bid. Councillor McLean, seconder. Councillor Elliott, questions or comments?
How many properties are on that list at this point? I know it changes, but
At
today.
this point, 9,
Okay.
And when do they have to do it by? Pay by?
10 a.m. September 28th.
Okay, any other
9:59 realistic.
Any other questions? Seeing, oh, yep.
Could we just go through the procedure, just
Certainly.
quickly,
So,
how this
tax-
takes place?
yeah, so tax sale happens when a property has delinquent taxes on it, which means the taxes have been owing for 2 tax years. So this will be taxes that were on the 2018 taxation year or before. If they do not pay all the amounts of the delinquent taxes by 10 a.m. on September the 28th, the property is sold at public auction here in council chambers. The procedure is that there's a published price, which will go twice in the newspaper, once due next Thursday and the Thursday thereafter. That's called the upset price, which is essentially all the taxes on the property, plus the land titles fees, plus 5% administration cost. That's the minimum bid that will be accepted. Any member of the public is welcome to bid on the properties. The upset price is required to be paid on the spot. If it goes for more than the minimum bid, the remainder can be paid by 4:30, closing time of town hall. If the rest of the money is not paid by then, the tax sale is repeated at 10 a.m. the next morning. If there are no bids, the municipality automatically becomes the purchaser at the upset price. The defaulter has 1 year in which to redeem the property, which will mean they have until September the 28th, 2021 at 10 a.m. to pay all amounts plus interest to the purchaser before the land sale is recorded in the land titles office in Westminster.
Was there many sold last year?
There were 2 sold last year. One was redeemed almost immediately after the tax sale, and the other one was redeemed actually today.
Councillor McLean?
On December 28th, the person can get away from it by paying the 1 year's taxes from 2 years
Just
ago?
the 2018 taxes are what's required if you pay them
Yeah.
before the tax sale.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, call the question, all in favor? And carried. 6.4, Fenchurch sewage lift station Forcemain evaluation recommendation. It is recommended that council, 1, approve a video inspection and materials testing of the old Fenchurch pumping station Forcemain. 2, authorize the expenditure of $24,200 from the 2020 budget sewer system reserve.
So
Make that-
moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Elliott, seconder.
I'll second.
Councillor Gould, questions? Councillor Gould.
Can I just ask Jamie?
Yeah.
For this inspection, do you have to get somebody off-site to do it? Or,
Yeah, they're both professional companies.
okay. And then if it's deemed that it's still good, like usable, we can actually alleviate some of the pressure that's out there?
If it's usable, it will alleviate some of the pressure, and there may just be some works that we may have to do to it to make it usable. Like, for example, we may have to put a liner in it for
Okay.
to make it usable, but we won't know until we test it.
Right.
If it's even going to be usable for us.
And then how long before you know the results of that? Like, or just instantly?
Well, we want to get it done, or the companies are ready to go this fall, so we can have it done before the winter. I would imagine we would know something probably around the end of October.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Council reports. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tuesday, August 18th, in the afternoon, early afternoon, I attended a Princeton Healthcare Steering Committee Zoom meeting. Then later that evening, I attended a PXA meeting at the PXA grounds. Next day, Wednesday, August 19th, I attended the Arts Council meeting at Riverside Center. And then the following night, Thursday, August 20th, I was at the museum for Princeton Museum Society meeting. And then on Monday, August 24th, I attended the meeting here at Town Hall with MLA Linda Larson, with CAO Thomas, and yourself, Mr. Mayor. And that is my report.
Okay. Councillor McLean.
Just 2 items. Again, I felt it necessary on behalf of the town to travel to west coast of Vancouver Island and investigate the salmon migration. It was very successful. We learned a lot about the salmon. Secondly, it's been almost a day-to-day thing with your Princeton Posse Hockey Club. I felt bad about the board. I couldn't pass on information because you would get information today and go to pass it on and it'd be changed by tomorrow and then changed again the next day. As a result of that, we did manage to get 17 teams out of the 20. One of them that had to cancel was, of course, Spokane, because travel back and forth is impossible. 2 of them, 100 Mile and Beaver Valley, dropped out for this 1 year. So there's 17 of us. The season will begin unless any further COVID problems come up on November 13th. At this point in time, fans will not be allowed in the arena. I'm hoping that with this latest surge in numbers and perhaps a 2-week following this long weekend, and then a month after that, that's supposedly late October, early November, if the numbers are down, that the province may review the requirements, because it went from, I think, 50% attendance to 25% attendance to 0%. And so the 50 people that were allowed in there include the teams, the coaches, the scorekeepers, and the referees. And you don't have, there's no more allowance for any other numbers. So that being said, we've proceeded along with acquiring players in the dispersal draft from those two teams that canceled out. And so it looks like our numbers will be good. Our billet homes are coming along. And so it seems as if we can just pray for better numbers as far as the province goes, that we may get changes, and there may be a thing where we can perhaps spread people out and have them wear masks if they attend the game and all that sort of thing. But again, it's not going to happen until the numbers start to go in the opposite direction. That's everything.
Thank you. Councillor Gould.
So I have been busy behind the scenes preparing for the 50-plus impactful people of Princeton. And on the news tonight, there was an announcement that Dr. Henry is changing, again, her requirements and rules around attending functions. So we're going to just keep that in mind and keep checking. We're prepared to go 100% virtual if we need to. We're hoping that we won't need to, and that's where if it's at the airport, there's enough room to keep everybody socially distanced. And the other thing that I did was I went and played pickleball for the first time. That was a lot of fun. They invited me up to just come and have some fun and check out the new courts, and they're very happy with them, and they get used a lot. I don't know if you've noticed yourselves, but there's usually people there. And there's the competitive group, and then there's the evening group that they don't even want you to say, I'm sorry, when you miss it. It was great, very welcoming, and I quite enjoyed that, and I'm thankful to council for making that happen this year.
Thank you. Councillor Willis.
Did you win?
I have a slight competitive streak in me.
You're not welcome back at the evening one.
Yeah, I don't have any meetings to report right now.
Okay. So on the 20th, I had a regional district board meeting. The 24th, I attended the MLA meeting with MLA Larson. What else did I have? Oh, on the 26th, I had a meeting with the Community Services, and on September 3rd, I had another regional district board meeting. We're still having issues with our computer system at the regional district, and they are working diligently to try to get that repaired. I think it's been about a month now that they've been down. So if you're out there and you hear that, please be patient with them, because it's put a big damper on a lot of things. So yeah, that's my report for tonight. Number 8, correspondence, receive and file. 8.1, we have a letter from the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, Public Transit, BC Restart Plan, and then 8.2, Castle Rock Farms Incorporated. We got a recommendation that 8.1 and 8.2 be received and filed. Councillor McLean.
I'll second.
Gould, questions? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Correspondence action requested. 50 plus impactful people, Princeton-Invitation. Recommendation that council attend the 50 plus impactful people of Princeton being held on September 17th, 2020 at the Princeton Airport, and virtual as available.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Elliott, seconder. Councillor Willis. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Oh, you have a question?
Could I backtrack?
Yeah, for sure.
Through to Director of Economic Development. I think I know a little bit about this, but there may be people out there that aren't familiar at all with 8.2 Castle Rock Farms.
In regards to the mortgage payment?
Nope.
This is, they have
got their
received
license.
production.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have the agenda with me. Yeah, they have gotten their approval. At this stage, they're just waiting. There's some final things they're doing. They're doing cleanup, and final deficiencies are getting cleared away right now. That's kind
So
of what.
this is another company up there.
Oh, that's BC Green.
This is BC Green?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So same overall company, but different company?
Yes. Yep.
Branch or
Yep.
whatever?
Yep.
Okay, and so is that the growth part of the business? sort of thing?
It'll be growth and research over there.
Okay.
Yep.
That's their
Building-
doing business, like their product line is called Castle Rock,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's the
that's
business.
what they're doing business as name, is
Perfect.
Castle Rock Farms. That's the
Super.
one and the same.
Great,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, moving forward, 10, bylaws and resolutions. Zoning bylaw amendments for liquor licensed establishments. Recommendation, bylaw number 991, 2020, a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw be given third reading.
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Counselor Willis, seconder. Counselor McLean, questions? All in favor? Carried.
Say about time.
That's just third.
11, new business, none, and motion to close. Recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public for purpose of considering the acquisition, disposition, and expropriation of land and improvements if council considers the disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. Following the adoption of the above motion, the meeting will be closed to the public.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Elliott,
Second?
Gould, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Good night, everybody.